Hi everyone, welcome to the Lost Generation, outside of the mainstream. My name is William Hooker. I am a musician, poet, and part of this generation of artists. My goal with this podcast, which is being broadcast on its own YouTube channel and my website, williamhooker.com, is to introduce you to many of the musical artists that are outside of the mainstream and have made important artistic contributions to our culture. I have also interviewed producers of the music and many fans and supporters of this work. My guests are sharing what makes this art form unique and significant. I hope these conversations will inspire you to listen to the music, which may change you in the way you view music, which again is outside of the mainstream. This is part one of the interview we did with Newman Taylor Baker, drummer and band leader. This is the Lost Generation, outside of the mainstream. This is a story that needs to be told. Today I'm interviewing Newman Taylor Baker. He's a drummer, a teaching artist, and a composer. Would you tell me something briefly about yourself?
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh man, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. Really.
Well, I was born on the college campus, Virginia State College at that time in Petersburg, Virginia. My father was head of the chemistry department. My mother taught English. And they told me that when I was 9 months old, they knew I was going to be a drummer. So I don't know life without having a drum. It took me a year to convince my father that I really was serious about wanting a drum, so I got one Christmas before I turned 2. But it was a toy and it didn't last long.
Yeah.
And then when that broke, the band director of the college gave my father a practice pad.
Yes.
So I took the practice pad and I played the practice pad, and I took lids from the pots and pans for cymbals, and I used to play with records. I had my own little record player, and I used to play there's a children's thing about the Little Willie, the leader of the band. It started out with the snare drum, and then as he marched down, other instruments joined, and then they had the whole band, and then it went back out. That was one I did.
That was fun, yes.
But I also played Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture, because they had a snare drum solo in that. I played with the 4th and 5th, 6th Symphony of Tchaikovsky. I like that. I played with Dinah Washington, but my mother liked Dinah Washington, so she had albums that had Charlie Parker and Diz and Max. They were playing.
Yes.
And this was dance music.
Yeah, right.
People danced to this and that, so I did that. I didn't have any R&B records, but on the campus, the college students had R&B, so I heard that. So I kind of grew up with jazz, R&B, classical music, and for me, I knew when I was 5 years old that I wanted to be a drummer, a drum set drummer.
Wow.
Billy Taylor was a graduate of Virginia State.
Yes.
And he had come back to give a concert, and I must have been about 4 years old. I remember walking into the auditorium in the afternoon before the thing and seeing his drums set up. I don't know who the drummer was, but he had this white set of drums, and I remember looking up there and thinking, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's the first awareness that I remember that's what I wanted to do. I knew that then. And so I was given opportunity to start music. It was from a classical point of view in one way, because I had the faculty of the campus, of the college, the music department, as family friends. I started playing at 5. They let me play in the children's band.
Yes.
Which the band, Dr. F. Nathaniel Gatman, he started a children's band for the elementary school age kids with staff and faculty.
Okay.
And on the campus.
Yeah.
So that's when I first started, and that was my first road gig. He took the children's band to Williamsburg, Virginia, to play a concert at a school there. And that was the first time I'd been away from my parents all by myself. But I was playing the drums, and the drum.
You were playing the snare or the bass?
Snare drum.
Snare drum, okay.
Snare drum.
I'm with you.
Once I got a snare drum, maybe it was 3. It took a while before they really gave me a real drum, but I got a real snare drum.
Yes.
About 13 wooden wire wound silk snares, and that calf heads. And I remember the first time I learned to I don't know if I was 4. I think I was 4. My father and I changed the head. The band director, Dr. Gatman, giving us a calfskin head. We had to hoop with the thing, and so we soaked it in the bathtub.
Wow,
and I remember taking it out, and we used the back of a spoon to tuck it in.
Now, you know, a lot of people, they don't understand this. I'm glad we're talking. They don't understand it. Now, will you just elaborate a little bit more about the calfskin and what we went through to deal with just getting a good sound?
Oh, yeah. With calfskin heads, that was my beginning with them. And as plastics really started coming in my neighborhood in the late 50s, 60s.
Okay. I can't really remember, but you're probably
around that time plastics started coming in.
Yeah.
But before that, the calfskin, you'd have a felt, try to use a felt strip, a strip of felt, and put that underneath the calf head, then the calf head on top of that, and you tighten it and try to place it so that you get some of the ring out of it.
Okay.
The calfskin used to ring, it was hard to get equal tension.
Yes.
Because the skin wasn't always even.
That's right.
And that, so we had that thing in both top and the bottom. And I remember, and this was my freshman year in college, I started playing out in the city with guys that were older than me.
Okay.
I was 18 and these guys were 30, 35.
Right.
So I learned to play, but we would be playing for dances. But
what kind of music did you guys play?
Oh, it was for dancers. So we played James Brown.
Oh, really?
We played Charlie Parker.
Okay.
We played Hard Silver. We played Count Basie tunes. Played all kinds of tunes that people could dance to.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, with you. Yeah.
I mean, because to me, jazz is dance music. That's where it comes out of, from that.
Beautiful.
And I think it's really unfortunate that the musicians now don't get the experience of playing for people live and seeing them dance.
Wow, that's a very profound statement.
No, there's something you get that's the only way you can get. And I just remember, I talked to Charlie Pacip. He's the only other drummer that I actually talked about this, but about the power that you have when you're playing for dancing.
Yeah.
When you saw a girl there, you liked the way she moved. You could play and make her dance faster, or move on, You had influence on everybody in the whole room.
I know that completely. That's my life as well.
And playing dance. So that was a sense of power that I experienced.
I didn't think of it as a sense of power, though. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, especially playing with 30-year-old cats.
Yeah, it's a sense of power Because it wasn't me, but it was coming through me.
Oh, okay.
All right. It's a sense of power, but it wasn't like I was,
Yeah.
I influenced it, but it wasn't me. It was always, for me, the drum is a direct connection to the power of the universe.
Okay.
Okay. And so the source power, the creator, whatever you want to call that,
I understand.
Energy there. To me, a drum is a direct thing. You touch a drum, and it speaks that language and connects you right to that.
All right, I got you. All right. And so here you are. You're playing in dances, and you're playing in dances, and people are dancing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. It was, I mean, everybody did the drum. They depended on, they looked for you to do a thing. They say you do it. All right. And I got coaching sometimes.
Yeah.
You learn how to do a shuffle, the double shuffle.
Yes.
I remember having to play the double shuffle. I'd never heard it before, and I was playing for this guitar player, Riff Ruffin, out in the country, back in Virginia.
Okay, go on.
In the block.
All right, go on.
And we were playing, and he said, double shuffle.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right, and we started the tune.
Yeah.
And I'm just playing the shuffle, double shuffle, double. And so I don't know if somebody told me or I figured it out, but it ended up that it's the shuffle feeling in both hands.
Okay, yeah. To me, that's easier than the other one. Because the other one, I would be playing the ride, and I would be shuffling, and the bass would be going boom, 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 like that. But for me, the left would be shuffling, but the right I would have to play, and I don't know, I have to play the ride, which was kind of in a sense my introduction to four-way coordination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was hard though if you're playing with somebody, because the other person like be pushing you and you're pushing them and you're trying to make it clean. But go on, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting hyped. I'm getting hyped.
That's the life of a drummer.
Yeah, I'm getting hyped. Yeah, man. Yeah.
But so I learned to but that's
double shuffle.
Yeah, double shuffle, which is that. And this guy liked four on the floor, like
really?
Donaldson.
Oh, okay. Did you like four on the floor though?
I did whatever made the people happy. And I learned, and then other things I tried to fit the situation. That way you can learn to do different things.
Okay then, okay.
And so I didn't like doing the same thing over and over and over.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes total sense.
So that was my beginning of playing. I was either playing classical music, and when I was 10 years old, they let me play at the college concert band. So I was the youngest member of the college concert band.
That's right.
My brother played trumpet in the concert band, and the band director's son played trumpet.
Wow.
And we were the three kids that were with the college. My father played oboe in the band.
Really?
So that was something, me and my brother, and we go to band practice together.
That's beautiful, man. And then now, again, what city is this now?
Petersburg, Virginia State College.
Petersburg, Virginia.
It was a very exceptional place.
That
I appreciate now that I did when I grew up. That was just the way life was. That was very different.
Yeah. I felt the same way, and then at a certain point, I said I had to leave. Because I don't know, I guess it just started to bug me a little bit. I just had to leave, man. Like playing the Elks Club, and you know what I'm talking about. Playing Elks Club.
Well, part of the exceptional environment I was in, there were people who had been out in the world. Our first piano player, she was a theory teacher, composer. Her name was Undine Smith-Moore. Yes. She was there when I came out, and my mother raised me, and she was like lifelong mentor.
Yes.
But she studied with Nadia Boulanger in Paris back in the early 40s or late 30s.
Well, let me ask you a question about that. Why, in your estimation, do people think that the study with Nadia Boulanger is such an exceptional thing, but if I say to them, I studied with Brother Jack McDuff, it's not like this thing. You know what I mean? Is it the way that we perceive the way that we perceive the importance of certain instrumentation and certain knowledge, in the way we don't see. I mean, to me, it's the way we don't see and value what actually comes out of blackness.
I understand that, but
You get my question.
yeah, I understand that, and that is a part of the thing, and you can take that. When I said that, you could think of it that way.
Okay.
But what it means to me,
Yes.
was she was such an exceptional black person that she got an opportunity that black people didn't get to do.
Oh, okay then. Okay.
She was she was so bad that she got to do that.
All right then. All right, I understand. But I was just
most
throwing
of
that
us
out
don't
there.
get a chance to do.
I get you. I get you.
But she had that experience. But she's the one that I could always go to and say, oh, I heard this Max Roach wrote this tune in 5/4, and I want you to hear that. And she would always come listen to it. I'd play it, and she'd tell me what was happening. She was always Afrocentric or what U.S. African-centric.
She understood it.
Yeah, and my environment was that way.
Good. Yeah,
But they were the first. I grew up on a campus that had the first, second, or third people to get PhDs in their fields from Yale, Cornell, Columbia University, University of Michigan, Iowa State, all over. But they were the first or second to get these degrees, or third. And they weren't allowed to teach anywhere. So they ended up coming to Virginia State, and they created this community that was world conscious.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
U.S. African Centered. I use U.S. African because I mean the Africans who were enslaved and those who survived and came through and of that generation.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's the generation that R&B, gospel, jazz, all of that came from that culture.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right? So that's U.S. Brazilian, Afro-Brazilian culture is just as valid, but it's different.
It is, yes.
Haitian, all of it had the African element in it.
Yeah.
But the environment in which it grew up has its own culture. And we have one here. And because of the United States culture, we tend to devalue the African culture that
Interesting.
Our
Yes.
system is to devalue it.
Interesting.
But in spite of that system, we changed the world.
Yeah, and also, I can really see what you're saying about the value of, because you grew up knowing that value because it was all around you, and it was of such a high quality.
Yeah, right.
And that's a very interesting thing because I grew up in a working class place but I still understood the value of family, the family of working, and because my father gave me the example. He gave me the example. But many people didn't have that example, and I can understand why they didn't have that value. And also the schools, it was really, our schools were sort of insular.
Yeah.
In terms of what we had to learn and what we how we learned.
Yeah.
Because who would have known? I mean, who would have known that I would go to a place and we weren't allowed to go in certain bars because we weren't old enough. So, like, you were 18, you could still go in bars and play?
Well, we had state liquor licensing, so you got liquor from the state store. I was able to go, couldn't drink, but we played for dances where cabarets.
Okay, yeah.
Where people bring your own liquor.
Okay.
And you can bring your own food.
All right, okay, cool. All right then, yeah.
We didn't have bars because they didn't have bars in Virginia at that time.
Wow.
Because it was regulated and you had to go to the state store to buy liquor and take it home, or you could
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, all right then. So we had clubs, and then because we had clubs and all that, it was like a whole thing, with the seal and the bottom and all that taxes. But no, this is really insightful. This is really insightful for me. Being that, man,
it really was a special environment that.
Now let me ask you, let me bring it up. Let me bring it up to like, okay, now we bring this up to, let's say, the people who were your age group that you learned how to play this music, and when you made the transition into the music. That's going to be the next section that we're going to go into, okay?
Okay.
All right then. So you think about that for a moment, because then we're gonna make a split from the people that taught you to the people that you realized, wow, this person can play.
Okay.
We bring it up. Here you are. You've gained skill. You've done your thing. Play with a lot of different people. These people that are older than you, they're mentoring you as well as you're learning from them of stuff about life and stuff about just basically how to be a man and how to put together a group and all this kind of stuff, and how to roll, how to be on time, you know, how not to get wasted, stuff like that. And then who were the people that you knew? How did you make the transition into people your own age that were also ready for where you were coming out of?
Well,
briefly.
Yeah, the actual transition started, I guess, in Richmond, Virginia, because I graduated and I went out and tried to be a band director, teacher, and all that, because that was the direction I was pushed in, even though
I get it. No, that's beautiful direction.
So I tried it, but it wasn't for me.
Okay, okay, all right.
And I taught 2 years of public school. First year was in Maryland, Sudlersville, Maryland.
Okay.
And then the second one was in King William County, outside of Richmond, Virginia.
You were still playing music? Or you were a music teacher?
I was a music teacher, and Maryland was the first and only year I ever lived in my life where I didn't do a gig. I was just trying to be what I thought I was supposed to be.
A teacher, you mean?
Yeah, a teacher and that.
Okay.
And my daughter was born shortly before I took that gig and that, so she was young and that. So that year is the only year in my life that I never played a gig.
But you paid the rent.
Yeah, I paid the rent.
You put food on the table.
Yeah, but I didn't play music. And
I get it though, but I get it.
It put a hiccup in my life and my music.
Okay.
For a long time that I never felt like I recovered until maybe 20 years ago.
Thank you for tuning in. In months ahead, you will have the opportunity to hear from many more Lost Generation artists and supporters. The audio-only version is available wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to hear upcoming episodes.